Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. So I am finally had time to put together my official review for the Dark Pictures Anthology House of Ashes game. I completed it last week, I believe. I don't know, my days are just melding together at this point. There's just so much going on with personal life and jobs, and now that it's the holidays and the weather's changing and lots of events are going on, and family, they want to get together, friends want to get together. It's just so many things are happening all at once. My brain is turning to absolute mush. So I am finally able to put aside a little time to work on the review. I wanted to get this out for you guys relatively quick, so it should be up by the weekend. Um, because I also have another couple videos that I want to post. I am thinking about doing some extra, per se, types of videos for my channel, but I'll let you guys know what that is in when I make that video itself. Just some lingering ideas that I asked some of my subscribers about, and some of them were very much into it, so I might be doing some other new things for the channel as well. It still goes along with the whole video game idea, so it's not going to be anything completely out of the water. So anyway, I'm just going to get right into the review. Might as well give you guys, as you know, a spoiler warning. This is my own gameplay. It starts from the beginning, so you're not going to see too much gameplay, maybe about 10-20 minutes worth, probably about the prologue. So if you don't want to see the video, you could just not look if you actually want to hear the review. Or come back and watch the review after you've played the game yourself. Let me know what you think of the review. Let me know what you think of the game yourself. I'm always open to comments. I enjoy hearing from my subscribers. So, um, also, if I have to give a spoiler warning for the video, I also have to give a spoiler warning for some of the things I'm going to say. I might bring up some of the points from the game, so just fair warning to all you that haven't played it yet. Anyway, so we're just going to get right into it. As most of you should know, this is the third installment for the Dark Pictures Anthology. The first game came out in 2019. That was Man of Medan. I did not play that one. At the time, oh, my cat. At the time, I was not really interested in it. It just didn't attract me at all. But when the Dark Pictures Little Hope came out last year, which was 2020, I was pretty enthralled with it, mostly because I'm a huge fan of anything that has to do with witchcraft, Salem, witch trials, anything along those lines, magic. So, oh, my cat is so needy. So, I was pretty hooked on that one. I just wanted to play it just for that reason. So I did play that one. I played it, I believe, a month after it came out. So, um, yeah, that was last year. That was the first video I did for my channel. Wow. Yeah, it's been a year, guys, since I've started this channel. Grown a little bit, not a huge amount, but everything takes time, and I appreciate every subscriber I get. I love each and every one of you. So, I'm super grateful. But, I really did enjoy that game. If I think back, let me look, actually. I could tell you guys. The review I gave for Little Hope, a lot of people would say it was pretty small. Yeah, I give it an 83 out of 100, which is a B, an 8 out of 10, I guess you could say, in school terms. Because even though it was a good game, the way I rate my games, as you all know if you've seen some of my rating videos, is very particular. I go by different things in the game. It's not just my own personal opinion. That's only one score, is my personal opinion. The rest is graphics, mechanics, things like that. So it did get dinged for those things because it was a short game, which, granted, for the price, it makes sense. But anyway, I digress. So, this is the third installment. I did like this one better than the previous one. And from the little bit of gameplay I have seen, and from what I've heard from people who played the first one, this one is the best of the three. So I'm really excited to actually get to play the first one and see just how bad it is compared to what people have been saying. So anyway, on to this one. So this one came out end of October. So it was about a half a month ago. So I ended up getting it late, about a week late after it came out, and Amazon decided to screw me and not send it as quickly as I had asked. So anyway, I got to play it late, so I know a lot of people that have already seen gameplay, so mine's coming later than a lot of other YouTubers. But as far as my review, my first score is interest value. I did give this one a better score than I did Little Hope in this category, as this game definitely had more hype than Little Hope. Little Hope was coming off the back of Man of Medan, which from what I had heard was bad, so it didn't have a huge amount of hype. People were worried that it was going to be, that Little Hope was going to be just as bad, so a lot of people didn't buy it. Then a lot of people did play Little Hope, quite a few people did enjoy it a lot more than the first one, so then when this one was coming out, it had more hype to it. Plus, this one also was supposed to bring more thrills, more scares, more choices than the previous one. And it did. It definitely did deliver. This one, compared to Little Hope, had more choices, had more ways to die. The QTEs were way faster. My brain, especially in the morning, if any of you watched my gameplay videos for this game, there were quite a few videos towards the end where I even specifically stated at the beginning, yo, it's early in the morning, it's like 3 a.m. when I'm recording this, and my brain is not at full capacity, especially if I've had a late night the night before. So I was running on empty for a lot of these videos, so there's quite a few where I missed some QTEs. I am lucky as fuck that I did not kill people off just because I was tired and had slow reaction time. So I'm super happy for that, because I would have been so pissed if I didn't get the achievement for everybody living because I was tired and missed a QTE. I would have been living with myself. So anyway, this one also had more interest based on the better visuals, and it was more history based, which I think a lot of people enjoyed. There are quite a few history buffs out there, and when you bring in history, like the Salem Witch Trials, I think that's why Little Hope did a little bit better than Man of Medan. Is Man of Medan, from what I know of it, wasn't really based on factual history, but I am not sure about that. For all I know, there was, a ship, but I don't know. That one might have just been a concept that was just brought to life by the creators and the devs, whereas Little Hope was based on the witch trials itself, which I think piqued a lot of people's interest because, oh, witch trials, history. And it was the same with this one. This one has to do with, like, ancient civilization, not necessarily way back to the Egyptian times, but it reminds you of that era because of their dress, their garb, where they lived, their customs, things like that. It makes you think back on history, and I think a lot of people like that. The case itself for the game is just like the other ones. It's pretty simple. It just has the white background with, like, hieroglyphics from the game, and then it has the big skull in the center turned sideways, and in the black background you see Ashley Tisdale, which is one of our main characters, and you also see the statue of Pazuzu, which was the god that I think some of them worshipped that ended up turning on them. It is a very simple case design, but considering that it's been out for a while, I did not dock it points for the simplicity of it, because it is pretty, for those that have been around for the past couple years, it is fairly obvious what this case is and what it belongs to, the series-wise. So, now that it's more popular and more well-recognized, I like the case, actually. It's very, very nice. And now that I'm actually looking at it, which I didn't recognize before, is, spoiler, for those that have not played the game, this is a major spoiler. If you look at the previous cases of these, it is a normal skull. However, if you look at this one, the teeth on this skull are extended into fangs, which I did not notice until just now. Brilliant idea by the devs. Whoever designed this case, absolutely brilliant. Because that denotes a hint right there of the creatures that are in this game are half vampire, half alien creatures. That right there, oh, that gave me chills. Just because that was so cool, because I hadn't realized that until just now. And I write my reviews ahead of time, so I don't sit here thinking and twiddling my thumbs about what kind of score I want to give. I think this out, and to just now notice this about the case, that's awesome. So, I'm sorry, I just totally geeked out at that. But anyway, moving on to the back of the case. So it says, you know, the usual, all hell breaks loose. An elite military unit searching for chemical weapons uncovers something far deadlier deep underground in a buried Sumerian temple. Something evil has awakened, savage and unstoppable. A nest of ancient and unearthly creatures have a new prey to hunt. And so then it also says, navigate the underworld and escape a terrifying threat. Share your story with a friend online or with up to 4 friends offline. Can you put aside your characters' rivalries to fight together as one? And it says, don't play alone. So the back has a couple very small pictures from the game. You just see a brief glimpse of one of the creatures. You see a couple people in military uniforms. You see a statue with an outstretched hand that has a couple people standing on it. One of the things I did really enjoy about this game, and I did hear they changed it, was that to get all of the achievements, you can play this game alone, and you don't have to play in a specific mode. So, like, if you have the curator's cut, or if you have the movie set where you can play offline with 4 people in your own home at the same time, and you each do a different character. Whereas, from what I heard, now Little Hope was the same way. You didn't have to play a specific set story. You could just play on normal, solo, by yourself, and get all the achievements. But from what I heard, that is not the case for Man of Medan. Apparently, some of the achievements you have to get in movie night or in the curator's cut itself. So if you don't have the curator's cut, you're kind of screwed and you're not going to get all the achievements. Now, I've been going back lately trying to get full platinum achievements for some of my old games, and I did go and succeed in getting I have Resident Evil 4 done, which I am going to eventually play for the channel. I have played it numerous times, but it's always a fun game. People enjoy Resident Evil 4, but that one I have platinum. I did a couple weeks ago finish Little Hope platinum, but I don't know if I have the curator's cut for Man of Medan, so I might be a little screwed on that one. So, but now that I've finished House of Ashes, that is another one I'll be working on achievements for as I move on with my channel to another game. On the side, I'll be working on achievements. Anyway, so back to my first category. Because of everything all together, I decided that this one deserved a... actually... I'm going to give it... Actually, I'm going to change... No, I'm going to leave it. I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's pretty good. Granted. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it as an 8 out of 10 score for interest value. So, going on to my second category, ease of control. As I've stated numerous times, most games will get an automatic 10 out of 10. The only reason I have this category is because there are some games out there, and it also depends on the game system you're playing on. The controls can be absolute crap. Won't let you change things. The way it's set up is just so bad that it's hard to control. So, most games for my channel will probably end up being a 10 out of 10, so that's just an easy category for it to get a good score in. So, yeah, the controls for this one are the same as all the other games. It was easy to understand. There aren't too many to learn. The QTEs were quicker, as I stated, but they're not as complex as Little Hope was. I don't know if the devs did this on purpose, if they had complaints about the change, but for those of you that played Little Hope, if you remember, whenever you had to do like a stay still, be quiet moment, and you had to do the heartbeats, it swapped between... On a controller, it would swap between an A button on Xbox and the Y button. This one did not. This one, every time you had a heartbeat moment, it was always just the A button, which I did kind of like, considering that the heartbeat sections in this game were more complex and happened more often than in Little Hope. In Little Hope, there was maybe like four. I think this one had like 7 or 8 different, depending on which characters you made it to the end. You could have up to 8 different heartbeat sections, and a lot of them were faster and more bunched together. So I did appreciate that it was all one button. And like I said, my brain was slow a lot of days. If they had changed the button in mid heartbeat, I would have died easily. So I'm very appreciative of that it was the same button the whole time. So anyway, that was an easy 10 out of 10 for this game. Now, graphics, once again, in my opinion, for this game, it was an easy 10 out of 10. The graphics are fantastic. To make things as lifelike as they do, and especially considering they were using ancient history for this game, to make it so detailed, I absolutely enjoyed it. I mean, there's a scene about midway through the game where you're playing a main character who ended up falling down a shaft, I guess you could say, or down the cliff, or however you want to say it, and ends in this trail of murky, bloody water, and it just looks so disgustingly real and gross. And all around her there's blood and fire, and it's just, to me, it looked really cool. I wish there had been more incorporated like that throughout the game. Really detailed areas like that. But overall, I mean, just look at the graphics are fantastic. I mean, come on, you can't deny that. The thing that really set it home for me to get it a 10 out of 10 for graphics were the creatures. They looked so awesome. They were scary. The first time you see one in this game, I actually screamed because I was not expecting it, and it just happened all of a sudden. And then maybe minutes later, you see the glimpse of another one and scared the shit out of me again. Granted, yes, I am a little baby. I do scream at scary games, but I still like to play them. Who doesn't like to get scared? I mean, it's fun. So, yeah. I totally fell in love with the creatures. They're so well done. The way they created them is so unique. Of course, they get ideas from different movies and things. In my head, when I saw them, I know the concept was kind of like humanoid vampire alien-ish. When I look at them, they obviously have the details from the bats, like wings, their sonic hearing, the way their fangs are set up, and they also got ideas from like aliens. So the way they walked, and they could control spacecraft and technology and intelligence is like an alien. But when I looked at one of the first things I noticed is the fact that they don't have eyes. It's like slits in their head instead of eyes. It's like hypersensitive hearing and senses, like bats. But it also made me think of, if you guys have ever seen the movie A Quiet Place, that's what it reminded me of, is the way those creatures work in there. Is what, instead of having eyes, they have like hypersensitive areas in their face. So that's what I thought immediately, and I think it was an absolutely brilliant design for the creatures, and I give kudos to the devs. Like I had mentioned when I first started playing this game, there were quite a few people that were really pissed off at Mana Medan and Little Hope, because all the creatures you see, all the not necessarily creatures, but the evil characters, I guess, the scary moments were all in people's heads and wasn't real. Like, I heard Mana Medan was, of course, it's been 2 years since it's been out, so of course there's giant spoilers. I know about the story, I just haven't played the game. But it's something to do with gas, and they're all hallucinating or something, so everything they see isn't real. And then, like, Little Hope was one guy gets into a bus wreck, gets a concussion, and starts reminiscing on his past and seeing things. This one went a whole different route, and people were happy about this. They actually put real creatures in here. It wasn't in anybody's head. It wasn't made up. They actually existed. So giant kudos for that. Like, it was fantastic, well designed, well thought out. They listened to their fans and they changed things up per our request. So that was really smart on their part. So like I said, that one definitely got a 10 out of 10 in that category. Freedom. The game had some freedom. It had a little bit more than its predecessors did, in the sense of not necessarily Man of Medan because I haven't played it, but in Little Hope, pretty much the group was almost together the whole time. You just swapped characters. They might have been apart for maybe a scene or two, but then they were always back together again, one group. Whereas this one was quite a bit different. There were multiple groups, multiple different scenes, and there were quite a few areas where a lot of the people did not meet back up again until either the middle or the end of the game. So I actually enjoyed that quite a bit because you got to see more gameplay, more decisions, more choices that affects the outcomes. So I really enjoyed that. But it's not a huge amount of freedom like you do in a lot of games. It had a set storyline, obviously. You couldn't go like way off the tracks and totally start exploring in areas that had nothing to do with the game. Every area that you were allowed to traverse had some sort of secret or tablet or thing to look at. So there wasn't necessarily anything that you could go explore that wouldn't have anything to do with the game. My brain just died a little. Whew. So I ended up giving it an 8 out of 10 in freedom wise. So game story, like I've stated numerous times now, I enjoyed this story. I found it more compelling than the previous game. I found myself enjoying the characters actually more, surprisingly. I did enjoy the characters in Little Hope, and yes, the ones in here were still a little stiff and a little weird, but the story was easier to get into, their backgrounds easier to get into, in my opinion. I'm a romance kind of girl, so to have the little bit of drama between the married couple was kind of interesting. Because you could take that so many different ways. Depending on your playstyle and how evil you are as a person, you could have totally had them break up. She could have stayed with you could have had her stay with her husband Eric, or you could have had her move on with Nick. So it was kind of interesting how they put that in there. It's different than the other two games. And most of these characters were a bit older than the previous two games. So that was different. The story was unique, based on history a lot. It was explained really well. Even if you happen to just zoom through the game and didn't pick up a lot of artifacts or read a lot of files, it is pretty obvious what the story is kind of trying to get at. You know, it's a group of military people went to Iraq to do a raid, fall down into ancient wonderland, find history, unearth a bunch of creatures that have been living underneath the surface for thousands of years, and them trying to escape it. I mean, it's pretty obvious how the story was. So you didn't necessarily need to find all the pieces to understand that, but of course, you know, if you're a real gamer, in my opinion, you're going to try to find pieces of the puzzle to understand the story better. So, I gave this a 10 out of 10 for story. It was really well done. Extras, like its other games, this one does have achievements, like most games do, but there are no extras, no DLCs, no really extra things to do after you finish the game. Of course, you know, there's the shared story with other people, but it's still the same story. You could do the curator's cut, which I have not played a curator's cut. From what I have heard, I don't know if this is fact, but from what I have heard, the curator's cut is basically, it's the same story, except at different parts of the game you play different people instead of originally who you're playing. So, like, for example, I would assume in the part in here where you're playing as Eric when you're with I can't think of Ashley Tisdale's character name. I don't know. I can't think of her name. But there's the two of you and you're together for a while. I would assume in the curator's cut, instead of playing as Eric, you would play as her, which would be kind of interesting. So I think that's just what the curator's cut is. I have not played it myself, like I said, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it is. It just gives a different viewpoint to the game. So But yeah, there's not really any extra DLCs that you can buy afterwards. No extra things to go back and do. So, besides achievements if you really want to. So that's why I docked it a little bit and gave it a 7 out of 10 in the terms of extras. Time, as I've described to you all numerous times, the way I base my time category is how many hours of gameplay there is. I am an average gamer. I don't rush through a game, but I also don't dick around and stare at everything and take my absolute sweet ass time. I play. So this one was actually longer than the previous game, so I kind of appreciated that, but it still was just over 7 hours on my time. So for that, it gets a 7 out of 10. 7 hours. I figured 10 hours is a pretty good average for a game, and it hit 7. So 7 out of 10. Category 8, replayability. Now, I thought about this one for a little bit. The Little Hope, I gave this an 8 out of 10. But I thought this one, in my opinion, has more replayability value, even if it's only a smidge. Because, as I stated a little bit earlier, every choice you make has different outcomes. And considering that throughout most of this game, a lot of people were not together a lot, there was a lot more choices, a lot more things could have gone wrong and changed the whole outcome of the story. I know from spoilers after I played the game, Merwin, if you decide to cover him and hide his screams from the creatures, you end up killing him accidentally. So my whole gameplay would have changed if I had done that, because Merwin ended up living until close to the end of the game for me and was able to fix our radio before he eventually ended up getting shot in the head by the Iraqian. But if he hadn't have been there, I'm curious to see, like, could we have fixed the radio? Like, what would have happened? So right there is one big thing that would have changed if well, I'm almost at the end of my video already. I didn't realize I was talking that much. But, come here, kitty kitty, you're in my way. That would have changed my whole gameplay, as if I, had accidentally killed Merwin. And there was multiple characters that way, where if, you had made one different decision, it would have changed the outcome completely of the whole game. Whereas Little Hope, since most of them were together a lot, and a lot of decisions didn't really affect how the game changed, that was another thing that I really appreciated about this game, was the fact that that's kitty. One decision could change the outcome of the whole freaking game. So they really listened to their fans on that as well. It felt more scary in the sense that one wrong choice and you blow your whole game. Whereas Little Hope didn't feel that way to me. The big decisions for Little Hope didn't come to the end. You almost couldn't kill people in that many instances until the end of the game, whereas this one was way different. So I did appreciate that. So I did give this one a 9 out of 10 for that, because there was more replayability value. In terms of the price category, I think I gave it about the same score as I did for Little Hope. It's a decent price considering the time it takes to finish the game, as I've stated. Fast players would finish this game, though, in probably under 5 hours if you didn't give a rip about finding all the files, and you just kind of searched around the room lackadaisically, and just picked up whatever you saw. You could definitely finish under 5 hours if you sped run this. But it is also not as expensive as most games are, so I figured a good score would have been an 8 out of 10 for price. Now, my personal score, as you know, I really did enjoy this game more than Little Hope, so I was kind of surprised about that. As I stated, I really like Witchcraft, but this one was done way differently. They listened to their fans, they changed things, they tweaked things. They made quite a few changes if you think about it, so I was quite impressed. Of course, this game is not on the same level as Until Dawn, for those of you that have played that or watched the gameplay of it. I've never got to play it, but I have seen gameplay of Until Dawn. So I'm very familiar with how that game works. From the same creators of Until Dawn, for those that did not know, are these Dark Pictures Anthology games. So, that's why I would not give this one a 10 out of 10 until they come out with one, which I highly doubt they will. If one of these in their saga it goes on to anywhere level close to Until Dawn, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Until Dawn was a masterpiece. That game, from what I've seen, it's longer than these. The all the scenarios are different. You can kill off characters at any point of the game. It was an amazing, well thought out game. English. So until one gets on par with Until Dawn, it will not get a 10 out of 10 in this category of like a make your choice game. So that's why this one gets a 9 out of 10, which is a better score in my opinion than what I gave Little Hope. I think I gave it an 8. So this one definitely improved. I do recommend this game for people that like the kind of games where you have to make your own choice, especially if you enjoy this series in general. I would definitely get this game. It's worth the money. It's really interesting. I do appreciate that. I think they try to get a little more hype for their games by bringing in Rachel. That's her name. Anyway, I do think that they get a little extra hype for their games by bringing in characters that are quite well known. So the kid from Little Hope, oh, I can't even think of his name. I'm gonna kick myself later. But he's in We're the Millers. But I can't think of what his name is. But he was a main character, and then now you have Ashley Tisdale in this one. So I'm really curious to see who they bring for the fourth one. I don't really know. They haven't said yet. And for those of you that haven't seen it yet, the trailer is out for the fourth one that's coming out next year. It looks super good. I am so stoked. I didn't give my opinions on the trailer at the on my last video for House of Ashes. It was the end of the credits, so we watched it. I gave my opinions on it there. So I'm super excited for it. But if I have time, I had thought about doing a separate like 5-10 minute video of showing you guys just the trailer for the new one, and then giving my thoughts on what I think it's going to be like. So I may do that. Anyway, if you tally up the score, this game ended with an 86, which was quite a few points higher than Little Hope, but it is still a B category game, which I think is fair. I do not think this game deserves an A rank. That would be an Until Dawn. That's like an A+ game. But I do think it's a well-deserved B. So that is what I'm going to keep it at. But anyway, I think I've chatted quite enough. I have a couple other videos I need to get ready to get out for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me play this game. I hope if you have it, you enjoy it yourself. I hope you enjoyed my review. But like I said, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And as always, I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.